made out of particles unless first it is centered. It has to be centered. So that's the first step of making something, centering. And when I center this piece of clay, which is made out of fine, fine particles, so fine that you cannot feel the individual particle size, like granular salt or something like that, or anything grainy. It's not. It's smooth, completely smooth. They're so fine, these particles. Yet every single one of them has to move in this lump of clay and realign until it's in the center. And you'll know it's in the center because you'll see it won't be wobbling anymore. When I first started out, it's really wobbly. It wants to go off. It just goes with the flow, it goes with the easy to do, But to respond to the potter's hands to bring it to the center is different. It'll go, I'm going to be going up with it. I'm going to squeeze in, so obviously it has to go up, tall. And then I'll come over the top and come down. And when I do that, it's going to realign all of those particles. I have to use water in order for it to slip through my hands, otherwise it won't move. Get rid of this. I might end up in it. And so I squeeze really hard so that I come over the top. And when I do, I'm pushing down and in at the same time. I'm beginning to center it here. It's not wobbling as up here as much as down there. And so I collect that as I come down and go along, press in. One at a time. Nothing in pottery ever happens all at once. One at a time, collecting this. And I'll have to do it more than once because by the time we get to the bottom, it's not going to be centered again exactly. Better than before, but not really centered. So now I'm at the bottom. It might look centered to you, but it really isn't. See if I put my hands on it, see them moving? You see that in the picture? A little bit. So now I just press in again. This is a nice responsive piece of clay. It's consistent all the way through. Almost, but the potter knows. I know when it's centered. I'm not going to look at looks good to someone else. I know when it's centered because my hands are on it. And these are all the particles, inside and out. Because every time I come up and down, the clay from the inside comes around like this. And then, so it's all mixed through. So that's how every little particle can come into alignment. Did you notice that when I center, it's the most force, it's the most intensity, but it's the gentlest letting go. It's almost like a dance. It's just so much intensity to overcome that force that wants to throw it out. I don't know if you can see that or not, but once it's there, and every time I take my hands off of the clay, I take it off gently, because if I took it off too fast, just go off again. I just start all over. Not all the way off, but it'll be wobbling. Centered. Centered under the hand of the potter. Responsive, yielded, soft, teachable, open, ready to learn, to grow, to be all that it can be. This is the potential right here. It's centered. Centered in Christ, the beginning. but it's not a vessel. The next step is for me to press my thumbs from the working in to get right in the center of it, to press my thumbs right down into the core of this centered lump of clay and open it up. So that's what pot is called, opening. Make a little indentation first. Put my thumbs inward. And press in. Press into this nice soft piece of clay. Now, here's a base and an inside. It does have an opening. You can't really see in it, but there is an opening there, but certainly not very useful. It's just the beginning, again, of being open. When God opens you up, He doesn't leave you empty. He wants to get an inside and transform you from the inside out. And the way He does that is as we allow Him to press into our lives, as we have accepted Him as our Savior, He takes His thumbs and begins to work within us, opening us up to receive all that He has, to make us into a vessel, like one of these. Now, the third major step in the process of making a vessel is now a time where the wheel slows down a lot. I like it to think of it as a more intimate time and relationship of the hands to the clay, because it has to happen a little at a time. It's called growth. Actually, the stage is called lifting. I'm lifting the clay now into a form, into something that will someday be its purpose. I've already opened it in a way that I know it's not going to be a platter. It's going to be something that's going to be taller than it is wide, just by the way I opened it. So as I lift it up, one hand is inside and one hand is outside. Right, you see that ridge right there? Well, I bring my fingers into a certain width of the wall, making a ridge above them, and then I lift it. And when I do that, all those little particles are sliding again to rearrange as they thin out on the walls, until I get to the last part, which will be shaping. Growth never happens all at once. It happens a little at a time. In the Word, it happens line upon line, precept upon precept. In our lives, we have to live through experiences depending upon trusting in God, seeing how He's going to work. It's not always an easy one. But as we begin to trust and let Him lift us, we become the purpose for which He has called us to be. And then use the sponge inside. Tremendous sunshine. Somebody needs to see a vessel larger than the hand of the Father already.